Hello, everyone. Uh, Kickstarters, important. I started. You must be tripping exactly 2 weeks ago. So I got. I started out when I started out. It was my fastest growing Kickstarter ever. I got $50. Uh, I got $50 within 5 minutes of starting. So comparison, my last Kickstarter, I'm sorry, the my most successful Kickstarter up to that point, I got $50 in 28 days. But with this most recent Kickstarter, I got $50 in 5 minutes, and at I maxed out at 75, which is the highest grossing Kickstarter I've ever made, not counting my first one, which was $183. But I consider this my most successful Kickstarter because it had a better chance of being fulfilled, whereas the first one was just a dream of mine that I could not fulfill. But anyway, so this most recent Kickstarter is the most successful Kickstarter, the fastest growing, the highest grossing, you know, Kickstarter I've ever made. Of course, I lost two-thirds of the money because the donor, my first donor, was blackmailing me. He has this little scheme where he goes around and he he buys two. He makes two donations of $25 to a Kickstarter, and then he emailed me, and he's like, give $500 to my Kickstarter marketing program, Kickstarter marketing company, and he gave me the link to Kickstarter marketing company, and I didn't have the money, so it looked pretty professional, so I would have bought it if I could, but I didn't have the money, so I decided not to buy the Kickstarter company. It was $500 for the most expensive tier. So because I didn't spend $500 with his company, he took away the $50 from my Kickstarter. So that's sort of some sort of it's extortion. It's racketeering, extortion. Basically, if you don't give me $500 for your Kickstarter, I'm going to take away my $50, and when other people see that this donation was canceled, they're going to assume that you're some sort of scam artist and you're doing something wrong or whatever. So some sort of racketeering, extortion, blackmail, something like that. So in spite of that, I still reached 75. I believe I reached 75 in less than 3 days. So it's the highest grossing, fastest growing, most successful Kickstarter I've ever made. Uh, uh, you can see it right now. I'll put the link in the description. And uh, um, future Kickstarters. Well, the purpose of this video I wanted to talk about, which was that I told you guys that I was gonna up my price so that I would not be just taking money from the same, you know, two people every time, and then depleting them every time, and then everybody else, doesn't give me anything. I didn't want to be siphoning from the same individual people, while everybody else doesn't contribute anything. I didn't think that was fair. Uh, you know, so because of that, for this recent Kickstarter, I asked for $50,000, and that's not the only reason. I was being more ambitious with this Kickstarter. I want to do more important things with the Kickstarter, so that's why I asked for $50,000. I wanted to pay for interviews. I wanted to pay for publishing. I wanted to give you a physical book with a professional cover. I didn't want to just slap together an ebook with no cover, and then send you a link to a Dropbox. I wanted to print out on quality paper with a high quality cover, and I wanted to pay influential Chicago people uh, uh, for interviews for the book. You know, so that's why I asked for $50,000. Uh, so drop my book. So but I was thinking, should I was thinking that this is also unfair. This is also unfair because for example, if David Norberg, if he wants to get what I have to offer, if he's actually interested in what I have to offer, and I'm probably never gonna reach $50,000. So if David Norberg is interested in what I have to offer, and he's really interested, he really wants to see what I'm gonna put together, then shouldn't I just make my goal $10? Because it's like, you know, it's either, on the one hand, it's like, I don't want to be like, siphoning money out of one guy's account, and sort of in a lopsided sort of, you know, all my money is coming from one person, and they feel that they feel that pressure. They feel that pressure to be the only one to give me money because they feel as if nobody else will. Is that unfair, or is it unfair for me to uh, put my goal too high, and then I cannot uh, put my goal too high, and then the people who actually like my work, who are actually interested in what I have to offer, they they can't get what I have to offer. It's like, is it more unfair to take their money and give them, something, you know, give them an inexpensive product? Is it more unfair to take their money and give them an inexpensive product, or is it more unfair to deny people who are actually willing to pay me for my product? Is it unfair to set my goal at $50,000, $100,000, $1 million, and then because obviously I'm not going to reach it, I just say, okay, nobody gets anything? Is which one is more unfair? You know, ultimately, it, right now I'm thinking ultimately it all depends on the project. Some projects I have to ask for. Some projects I just want to offer more, which is why I ask for more money. Other projects I don't have. There's no overhead. So if I'm writing a novel, if I'm writing a novel straight to PDF, I've got the open office that converts directly to PDF for free. You know, I don't have to uh, worry about that at all. I can just charge $10 because that's my goal. It's just to get a buzz. You know, but other Kickstarters are really, it's capital intensive. I need to pay for physical printing. I need to pay for advertising. I need to pay taxes, and depending on the situation, I'm gonna have to pay for uh, I'm gonna have to pay for uh, I'm gonna have to pay for new housing. You know, so I'm gonna have to pay for a new place to live because when I do my food, I'm gonna do a food Kickstarter. And when I do a food Kickstarter, I live in a studio apartment. There's no kitchen, you know. So how am I gonna cook? Well, okay, I'm gonna have to pay for an actual apartment with a kitchen and a gas connection. and so I'm gonna have to ask for more money for that. Uh, so for my next Kickstarter, I don't know. Basically, I was thinking I just got my first computer working. It doesn't have an operating system yet, but I have the CPU. I have the components installed. I'm at the BIOS screen right now. I'm gonna do the setup. Uh, 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 um, so I'm at the BIOS screen right now. I'm gonna do the setup, and I'm gonna buy the operating system, and I will have a brand new computer. Obviously it's it's not a brand new computer. It's a i7 4790K and a GTX 970. So obviously it's a pretty old computer, but it's faster than anything I've ever used. It's faster than anything that I've ever owned. So basically, one of my future Kickstarter ideas for the technology sector was I was going to open up an organization that teaches young people. I don't know if I want it to be like 10-year-olds or teenagers. I can't decide because you know the immaturity factor is present in both age groups. Let's just say that. So do I want to focus on 10-year-olds or you know 16-year-olds, 16 to 18-year-olds? Because yeah, obviously with a younger kid, there's a risk that they might eat one of the components and choke to death, or they might electrocute themselves. So I was gonna have this this Kickstarter where I fund this project where I'm going to teach young people how to build computers like I did. Get all the components, select the right components, compare and contrast, select the right memory, select the right operating system, install everything, get the right PSU, GPU. What kind of computer do you need? Do you need more hard drive? Do you need a hard drive or an SSD? Do you need I can't do custom cooling yet or radiators yet. I've never done that before, so I don't have that skill yet. But if I get some money, I can learn the skill. I can learn how to use the parts. So I've got to have a Kickstarter that funds a project where I teach young people how to build computers using off-the-shelf components. And when I build the components, we're going to have some. When we as a class put all the components together, we're going to have a sort of competition where the winner gets to take home the components. And yeah, that's my idea. I'm going to bring that to Kickstarter. I've got I mean Evan Carmichael says you should know when to quit, and perhaps I should have quit Kickstarter after my first one exploded. Yeah, perhaps I should have quit last year, but you know, uh, it's not costing me anything, and to do anything else would cost me a lot. So, to put up a Kickstarter is free. If I want to start a business, I need seed funding. You know, Series A, Series B, investors. You know, my own website. I can't use somebody else's website. I would need to pay for my own. So, on the one hand, I probably should have quit Kickstarter a long time ago, but, you know, It doesn't cost me anything except for 28 days of my of monitoring it. And who knows? Maybe I can come back. Maybe somebody will see me and say, okay, I'll give this guy another chance. Who knows? But yeah, that's all as far as Kickstarters are concerned. So Kickstarter, you must be tripping is over in 13 days. I'm gonna try to have my next Kickstarter ready so that when that's done, I can move on to the next one and so on and so forth. So, and I start writing my first. I start writing my, the first novel I'm gonna complete. I'm gonna start writing it tomorrow. So I might bring it to Kickstarter. I might bring another novel to Kickstarter instead because I want to try to take this novel that I'm writing now. I'm going to try to take it the traditional route. So have a nice day and enjoy the weather. Bye.